welcome back to my Bookie Babe book review series. I'm Caitlin, your geeky girlfriend, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing, you all are watching, my review of Sarah Dessen's What Happened to Goodbye. Now, if you've watched the rest of the videos in this series, you know that Sarah Dessen has had a big part in my love of reading. I have read all of her books and I have most of them in my possession, and several of the videos in this series are Sarah Dessen books. And we're almost done with the ones that I have in my collection. And today we're going to be reviewing What Happened to Goodbye. Now, if you watched my video on Just Listen, I made the comment that Just Listen was kind of middle of the road. Like, it wasn't my favorite, was not my least favorite. It just kind of slips into the background. And this is what I would say about this one as well. Now, I will follow up and say that none of Sarah Dessen's books are bad. Every single one of them, when I was reading it, I enjoyed reading it. But compared to all of the books that she's written, there definitely are ones that stand out in my mind as my favorites. Those would be This Lullaby, Someone Like You, Keeping the Moon is pretty good, and the rest of the story, her most recent one, was way up there as really, really good. And so was Saint Anything and Lock and Key. So I just listed off about 6 or 7 that I really, really like. Someone Like You is my favorite of all of them that she's done. And so she has a lot that just kind of fall in this like middle, like if I'm not actively looking at them or thinking about them, I'm probably going to kind of forget about them. Now, the good thing about her books is when you open them up, like even if you haven't read them in a long time, you can kind of read just a couple of pages and be transported right back into that story. So these are great books, in my opinion. Like if you're a person who reads multiple books at a time, Sarah Dessen is a good fiction writer to do that with. Like you could definitely read one of her books and then like a nonfiction self-help or something like that, and pretty much be able to pick up right where you left off in the story, which is one thing that I really like about her books. So to talk about this one specifically, this one follows a teen girl. All of her books follow a teen or young adult female, which I love. Makes it way more relatable for me as a young adult female when I was reading these. And I love books that I can relate to or that I feel like the author is telling my story. And it follows a girl named McLean, who her parents recently got divorced. So again, we're facing an issue of teen family drama, grief, loss. Sarah Dessen's really good about writing about those types of things. And in this one, her parents just went through a divorce, so she's kind of reeling from her family separating and this pull apart. She is living with her dad, but her dad owns restaurants, and kind of like Gordon Ramsay goes into different towns and like fixes up these restaurants and makes them more popular. So once they're done, he kind of moves on and goes somewhere else. So she's moved around a lot in the past couple of years, and you kind of pick up with her at the story where she comes into Lakeview. She's at a new high school. She kind of reinvents herself every school that she goes to. And she's still kind of dealing with this bitter end of her parents' marriage. There's a part in the story where she kind of sees her mom again for the first time after a couple years, and she doesn't know how to tell her dad. So it's like things like that. I fortunately was not a child of divorce or separation, so I'm blessed to be able to have that as part of my story. But for those of you who do have that as part of your story, McLean is a very good character that you can relate to. And Sarah Dessen does a good job about sharing McLean's feelings, talking about her dad, and kind of showing McLean like maybe why the parents got divorced. There's a part in the story where her and her dad are supposed to watch this big college sporting event together, and they're I can't remember now if they were supposed to go there live or if they were just going to watch it on TV, but either way, he texts her and says he can't make it. And she starts thinking about how many times that happened when her parents were together. And it kind of, she kind of starts to understand maybe why things didn't work out between her parents. So Sarah Dessen does a good job of explaining all of that. I think the cover of the book kind of tells you exactly what you need to know about this story. She kind of is always ready to go. She doesn't really let herself get comfortable with anybody or anywhere. But in this story, she meets Dave, who goes to her school. And I'm pretty sure I might not be thinking of the right book. This is one of those ones that kind of the story kind of runs together with some other ones, but Dave might be a couple years older than her, and um, I think he's in college, actually, like a freshman or something in college. But he too, like his family has a business, and so they kind of have that similar story. Again, I have not read this book in a really long time. When I picked it up and read it for the first time, I was able to make it through it. One of her books, The Truth About Forever, took me like 3 times to get fully through. This one wasn't like that. I was able to pick it up and make it through the whole thing, and I still remember vague snippets of the story, but it's not one that sticks in my head because it's not the top of my list. I would say this one's probably like a 6. Overall, it was not my favorite. It's probably one of my least favorites of the ones that she's read. But again, when I picked it up and read it for the first time, I was able to make it through it. It was a good read, solid read, and I definitely would not discourage anyone from reading this book. It's just not one of my favorites. In my opinion, Sarah Dessen has a lot that are better than this, but it's still a good book and a great read for young adult women. So, it is fiction, like I said. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about this one. It's not my favorite. It reads well if you're reading it for the first time. You're able to, like, if you set it down for a month or two, which might have been me, I was able to pick it up and pretty much remember what was happening and keep on going with the story. So if you're a slow reader, somebody who doesn't have a lot of time to read, Sarah Dessen is a good author to choose because you just get so immersed that it's easy to jump right back in if you have to put a book down for a little bit. And other books aren't like that. You kind of forget what's happening. You're not really sure where you are in the story. And Sarah Dessen writes in a way that no matter how long you step away from a book, you can pick it right back up. I actually read one of her books twice because I forgot that I had read it, and I just recently reread it last summer. And then I was like, oh yeah, I've already read this one. So what happened to Goodbye? I would give, like I said, a 6 out of 10 in terms of like recommendation and of recommending it to other people. Sarah Dessen has a lot more, like Someone Like You, Once and For All is good. Trying to think of the other ones. This Lullaby. Those are the ones that would be like my top recommendations. So this one gets out of 6. It's an easy read, but just not one of my favorites. If you're familiar with Sarah Dessen, feel free to drop your favorite Sarah Dessen book in the comments. It's been a while since I've opened up the comments on these videos. So if you're a Sarah Dessen fan, drop which one is your favorite and which one you would like me to do a review of. I have said before, I don't have all of her books in my possession, but I will be happy to share pictures of the cover for those of you because I have read them all. So drop in the comments which Sarah Dessen book is your favorite or which one you would like me to review. Make sure you check out my other Bookie Babe book reviews because I have done several of her books so far, and we've got one more coming to the channel. And so make sure if you're not a subscriber, you go ahead and subscribe. Also, make sure you follow me on Instagram at Your Geeky Girlfriend because I've got tons of fashion tips, style reviews, unboxing videos, which you've seen in this channel. But I've got lots of fashion tips and fashion fun and collabs for you guys to get discounted products from great brands. So if you're not already a follower or a subscriber, make sure you do both of those things. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Be on the lookout for more book reviews and more movie reviews coming very, very soon. See you then.